Turn the mic on. That music is so comforting. That's playing underneath me right now. I love it. Welcome, live from the third largest city in the United States, Chicago, Illinois. It is The Drive on MLK Day. I'm Mario Smith. Thank you for being here. Truly appreciate your patronage. And we have a lot to cover today, and including but not limited to Martin Luther King himself. There's a lot to discuss, and we're going to try to break it all down. And again, thanks for coming. If you're new to the program, we are here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And it's not just me, it's my man Jay Gliss in Portland, Oregon. What's up, Gliss?
What's up, man?
He is. There he is. Hey, look at you. I feel like I haven't spoken to you all weekend.
I know, long time no see.
I'm saying. We got a lot to cover today, man. But I want to just tell you congratulations because I know your heart must have did a bunch of moves yesterday watching that 49ers Cowboys game.
I think I lost like 10 years off my life.
I started to call you and I was like, don't bother him. And then when it got to that last like 5 minutes, I'm like, I'm gonna call him. And I'm like, no, I want to be friends with him. I don't want him to hate me forever. And I also didn't want to jinx you. Well,
and as a Niner fan, it was like, Jimmy G, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. So it was like, just don't make a mistake. Don't make a mistake. And then, of course, he just lobs one out there for the cornerback.
He did a lot yesterday.
Perfectly placed pass to the Cowboys. And, we lucked out. 1 second, they would have got that playoff.
And who knows, because Dak was dealing that toward the end of the game. So that could have been a thing. But we'll talk more about that later. There's so much to cover today, Gliss, including but not limited to telling all our new friends and our return. You can interact with us on your Amazon device, whatever Amazon device that is, by simply saying play the drive with Mario Smith or play the drive with Mario. I wouldn't say just like Mario because then who knows? Knowing my history, you don't want just that. So you want to make sure you say the drive with Mario Smith. And we also want to thank everybody for being on board today on MLK Day. You can catch the full slate of Backchannel tomorrow. Beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern with Haley and Allison, and then Liv Harrison, who left me, Gliss. She left me such a nice note on Facebook.
Did she?
Saying, she welcomed me, and it was really cool, man. It was sitting there for 3 days, and I hadn't seen it, so it was from like the Monday show.
It's a cool team we're a part of, and hopefully we'll get the chance to interact with these people a little bit more someday. Because I've been watching from afar, but everybody's doing really good work here. So.
Hal was stroking his bird before we came on. I don't think he was supposed to do it, but he was stroking the bird. After I love that show. After Liv, it's Jam and Renee at 10 a.m. Eastern. Sir Anthony Davis from Los Angeles, starting at noon Eastern. The aforementioned My Pal Hal, he begins at 2 Eastern, and then it's us, The Drive, and we go until 6 p.m. Eastern time. And speaking of the East Coast, we have a lot to. If you guys are watching and you're on the East Coast, man, be careful. The storm is coming if it hasn't already landed. Jacob is joining us. And this is your first time, Jacob. Welcome to Backchannel. Kobe's here. Welcome, Kobe. Not sure where Jacob's from. It says maybe. I don't know what town maybe is in. I have an idea. It could be Florida, but I don't want to jinx it for him. Freddie's joining us from Louisiana. Nathan, how you doing? G in Oregon, how you doing? Abigail in Oklahoma. Linda and our friends who happen to be out and about. Let's see, who's this? Lawson, what's going on? Thank you for telling us to have a good stream. Appreciate that. He loves our energy, Gliss.
Good.
You know what this energy is from? You know what this energy is from?
What's that?
I slept for like 2 days. Not really. That's not what it's from. It's from lemonade pomegranate.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, I had a big breakfast.
I've noticed that's kind of your go-to for pre-show, during show.
Yeah, I think it's frowned upon to drink copious amounts of alcohol during a live stream. So
I've seen people do it.
I heard stories. My man Scott is here from Chicago. What's going on, Scott? Thank you to everybody. Please make sure you join the chat and all that. We've got a lot to get to. Let's start with what's happening at this hour. Today is Martin Luther King Day in the United States. And we will definitely be talking more about that in a little while. I've got some thoughts, man. You know, I got some thoughts. We'll share later. Martin Luther King III says history will be watching what happens tomorrow. The King family is demanding the Senate pass voting rights legislation. That's almost like borrower from the other day. So I don't want to do that again. The family of Martin Luther King Jr. today demanded the Senate pass voting rights legislation and said lawmakers who truly honor the late civil rights leader's legacy must stand on the right side of history. Quote, no matter what happens tomorrow, we must keep the pressure on and say no more empty words. Don't tell us what you believe in, show us with your votes. History will be watching what happens tomorrow, close quote, Martin Luther King said in D.C. Close. Black and brown Americans will be watching what happens tomorrow. And fees will read what happened and know whether our leaders had the integrity to do the right thing. And just very quickly, that is a strong statement from a family that is owed far than it has received. And I'll just leave that there. And our other story at this hour, Kentucky Candle Factory destroyed by a deadly tornado is closing. What makes this story noteworthy is 250 workers got pink slips from the Mayfield Candle Factory, where some had told NBC News they were threatened with firing if they fled the tornado. And now that plant is closing, and half of those employees are being laid off. And that's what's happening at this hour as I try to figure out English and get my words together. When we come back, we will get started with our show and we will go around the world. Join us, please, and thank you. It's The Drive with Mario Smith. We'll be back in a bit. Welcome back, everybody. It's The Drive with Mario Smith. By the way, Kobe said, roll tide. I knew it was coming. I didn't know when, but I knew it was coming. So roll tide, roll tide, roll tide, roll tide, roll tide, roll tide, roll tide. The way that works is like ILL, INI, MIZZ. You can't, you can't say roll tide and not hear roll tide back. It's what it is. In our headlines today, or in our news today, how MLK's 13-year-old granddaughter thinks you should spend the holiday. Yolanda Renee King declares a call to action to mark Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. Although you may not be old enough to vote, you are the future. She looks just like her granddad. She looks just like, it sounds like him too. At just 13 years old, Yolanda Renee King is already a seasoned speaker and activist. Many might have first noticed the similarities between her and her grandfather, the civil rights leader, Martin Luther King Jr., when she took the stage at the 2018 March for Our Lives student-led demonstration in Washington, D.C. to talk about gun control, or perhaps when she spoke about racial equality on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in 2020. The granddaughter of King and his wife, Coretta Scott King, Yolanda is using her voice this MLK Day to call attention to the importance of voting rights and why younger generations should be involved with the fight. Quote, my family and I have been working on getting two major bills passed that can make it easier for people to vote because one of the fundamental rights is the right to vote. Everybody needs to have access to voting, close quote. This is a 13-year-old girl, and I am fully aware that she is Martin Luther King's granddaughter, but I can promise you that that sentiment is shared by a lot of kids her age. Sometimes I think we are living in the absolute upside down, where we are still struggling to get people. One, it's hard to get people to register to vote. But then when you're taking away the right to vote on top of all of that, more people will vote for a dancer on Dancing with the Stars or a singer on American Idol than they will in the U.S. election, or more than they will in a local election. At some point, we have to change our thinking, and this should be a subject that is not limited to Dr. King's holiday. Why is this still a thing? Why are we still struggling with the idea of the right to vote? It seems performative on a day like today to even have that conversation, but it's worth having, right? How is it that we are here again, where states are restricting people from being able to vote? And I'm afraid. Thankfully, I live in Illinois, not one of those states. But I am afraid for folks in Texas. I'm worried about it for folks in Georgia. I'm worried about it for people that are in a position where their right to vote is under question. It's easy on days like today to bang the drum for everything that's right, because in the spirit of Dr. King, you want to project right, even if for 364 other days you've just been running amok. You know what I'm saying? So today you would want to make sure that you project right. But if you are allowing yourself to have an open mind, think about what that young lady said. And to localize it a bit, in Chicago last week, Friday, there was a major event where the young people here walked out of school because they are worried about getting COVID. This is what the whole argument was a couple of weeks ago with the teachers and the teachers union here. And that's why they locked themselves, or why the board, CPS, locked the kids out, or locked the kids and the teachers out, essentially, although the buildings were open. These young people that we're afraid of, not all of them are on that. Not all of them are out here doing bad. Not all of them. Matter of fact, I am willing to bet more than most of them are not doing bad. We hear about that, though. But these young people are not taking it. They're not standing for it. So my message as I go to this next story, if you were one of those people, or if you are a person who has problems with young people speaking about their right to do blank, I hope to God you did not post a picture or a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today. I do hope for you that you change your attitude. These young people are coming. They're coming for it. They are not worried about you or your feelings. This country will be a much better place soon, but not soon enough. There's a lot of work to do. And people like this young woman, Martin Luther King's granddaughter, Yolanda, are on their way to proving me right. Here we are. There's a lot of work to do. The cost of masks and tests deepens the pandemic wedge between the haves and the have-nots. This is courtesy of NBC News. Have you noticed the cost of a mask, a P95 mask? Up there. It's pretty doggone expensive to get one. I have one. I have a lot of masks, but I have one of those K95 masks that I'm certain will keep us together and safe, right? Because variants can't hurt us once you've been shot up 3 times, right? That's right. That's what I heard. In recent weeks, as the Omicron variant spread rapidly across the U.S., Americans have found that the financial costs of the pandemic are increasingly falling on their shoulders. As COVID-19 cases have climbed, public health experts have urged people to dump their cloth masks in favor of higher quality options and to test more frequently to curb the virus. The CDC on Friday updated its mask guidance to note that the disposable N95 or KN95 masks offer the highest level of protection against the virus. For some, the added financial burden is an irritation, but still affordable. To others, the prospect of paying $1 for a single disposable mask or $24 for a test kit is an economic impossibility, raising the specter that the pandemic will continue to exacerbate inequalities. Bliss, you got kids, you got a wife, you guys need masks. You go on Amazon to get a mask, there are none there. None of these fancy ones that they want us to wear to keep us safe. You need a test. Hard to get one of those tests too, because they're all gone. Although I guess there's a website that should be popping up tomorrow or Wednesday.
Sometime this week. I can't remember.
Yeah, I want to say it's Wednesday. But what do? How are you managing this if you need to get masks for yourself and your family? And I know your family is all pretty much everybody except for you, the black sheep of the family, are all healthcare workers.
Yeah.
But how are you managing that?
So that's one benefit is my wife, she is able to, she has to wear those particular ones at work. So sometimes she has some extra that we keep in the car and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of difficult because, honestly, right now, we're not doing a whole lot with our children. They were out of school last week, and we've tried this whole time to kind of limit what we're doing, especially when at times like this where the numbers are high. So I tend to go run the errands myself. We try not to go out in groups if we don't have to. So I mean, we're doing our part to just try to keep them out of situations where they need to be involved in at all. So I mean, that's part of it. But yeah, it's definitely difficult if they're telling you to do these things and to take these steps, and the resources aren't really there. It's definitely kind of frustrating.
Well, listen to this. During the pandemic, 3/4 of workers said it was very or somewhat difficult to make ends meet. 40% said they couldn't come up with $400 in the event of an emergency, and around 20% said they went hungry because they couldn't afford enough to eat, according to the Shift Project, an ongoing survey of American hourly wage workers operated by Harvard University sociologist Daniel Schneider. And also, most do not get paid for sick leave and have continued to work when ill because they can't afford to miss a paycheck. There are nurses that are being forced to go to work even if they're sick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a bigger question, where are we? if we're letting sick nurses go to work with COVID to try to make people who have COVID better just so they can turn around and get COVID again? This is crazy.
Chasing our tails. Yeah, it's
chasing the tail, exactly.
Unfortunate.
Wow, what a world, man. That's wild. That is so wild. So I would like for the folks who and Gliss, we got numbers. I would like for the folks who are on the chat to join us today to let us know, how are you doing this? How are you getting masks and tests if you are getting either? Hit us on, if you're on YouTube, just put it in the chat. I'm looking at our folks here. So Freddie and Nathan and Kobe and G and Abigail and Linda and Raphael, who's also new, first time on the back channel. And Jacob, how are you all doing this? Pardon me. How are you making this happen? How are you making this happen for your families? Same for Scott and Lawson. And I'd really like to know that. And whenever you decide to make that answer, I will read it, I promise you, because that is what we do on the back channel. But yeah, man. And how is your kid, by the way?
Yeah, so
feeling better?
Kids are generally better. We kind of have some lingering bug. I don't know. It's also complicated right now with the numbers where they are. When we came back from traveling, we all tested negative, even though one of my children was sick, and then the other one got sick a couple days after we tested negative. So with that, and obviously there's other bugs going around. I mean, who knows? Like, we're kind of working under the assumption that they're sick, so we're going to limit what they're doing to try to be as safe as possible and not expose other people to whatever it is that they have. So
right. And it sounds like, for the most part, that you guys have all that under control, because that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love kids. I'm so glad I don't have any right now because I'd be losing my mind.
Oh,
I would be so worried about them. You know what I mean? More
yeah.
than I'd be worried about myself. I'd be genuinely worried about them.
Yeah,
And
especially because there's a lot of things out of your control. You don't know. I mean, everybody has their own opinions on all of this stuff, and so you're sending your kids to school. You don't know, what different parents' beliefs are, what they're telling their kids. You don't know what precautions they're taking. So yeah, it's kind of a crazy situation.
yeah, it is a very wild time. It's wild to be out here in this world right now. It's wild, brother. Um, and in a related story, here are 6 reasons to not get uh or not, to not want to get Omicron and just get it over with. I read an article, not this one. I read an article where a family's like, we're just so glad that we got it. Now we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Not so fast. I don't know about that.
That is the craziest. God bless America. I can't curse. That's the craziest what I've ever heard. That's ridiculous. You want it so that you can't get it, but you can get reinfected with it. No, you don't know. Clearly, you don't. Millions of people are testing positive with COVID-19 in the U.S. each week, and the FDA warns that most Americans will get the virus at some point. With growing evidence that the Omicron variant likely causes milder disease, some people may be thinking, why not encourage Omicron to infect us so we can enjoy life again? No, that's not how that works. That's not a good idea for many reasons, say infectious disease experts and doctors. Don't throw your mask away and do not even think about hosting a 1970s style chickenpox party. The Omicron. Okay, I'm old, but I don't know what this chickenpox party is. To the Google. Hold on. So apparently, I think I've heard something about this back in the day. Back in the day.
You get the kids together in a room and expose everybody. And
that is dumb. That is so stupid. That's why people my age are dumb. Not all of you. Most of us. Pox parties, known as flu parties, are social activities in which children are deliberately exposed to infectious diseases such as chickenpox. Man, I'm glad I wasn't married in the 70s because that would have been my divorce. Are you throwing a party so all the kids can get chickenpox?
Well, I guess the argument for that is that I believe you can't get chickenpox twice, if I'm correct on that.
I've never had it.
Yeah, I had it as a kid.
That's why I got to get my shingles shot.
Yeah.
Buddy, I am so far more, no, not far more, but I am as concerned about that as I am about getting anything.
I've heard that's pretty painful.
Oh my God, that shot apparently knocks you down for like 3 days, just like the booster did me. But anyway, I digress. I am not a doctor. Here's one of the reasons why you don't want to get Omicron on purpose. You could get sicker than you want to. Even for boosted people, just because you don't end up in the hospital, you can still be pretty miserable for a few days, said Dr. Ashish Jha, a physician and dean of the Brown University School of Public Health. Not sure why you need to seek that out. That's funny. Number 2, you could spread the virus to vulnerable people. When you're infected with COVID, you can unknowingly spread it to others before you have symptoms. You might expose your family, roommates, coworkers, or random people in the grocery store, says epidemiologist Bill Miller of the Ohio State University. And while you might have made a conscious decision to allow yourself to be exposed and infected, those people have not made that same choice, he says, and they might have a higher risk level than you. Your immunity will last months. Your immunity will last months, not years. Unlike chickenpox, getting a COVID-19 infection is not a get-out-of-jail-free card for long. 2 main things impact how well our immunity will protect us, explains Jeffrey Townsend, an evolutionary biology and biostatistics professor at the Yale School of Public Health. That's a mouthful. That's on his business card? That's a lot of words. First, antibody levels. Immediately after you get a shot, booster, or infection, your antibodies skyrocket and you're unlikely to get sick. Unfortunately, those levels don't stay high. Second, the changing nature of the pathogen. As the virus evolves and variants emerge, our waning antibodies may not be able to target the new variants of the virus as precisely Omicron is a prime example of a virus that has mutated to be able to continue infecting us. That's what the term immune evasion refers to. So, how much time does an infection buy you? That's hard to answer precisely. Towns' team estimates that reinfection could occur somewhere between 3 months and 5 years after infection, with a median of 16 months. At 3 to 16 months, you should be on notice. The clock is starting to tick again. So, so you could don't do it. Just don't join me in not doing that. You know what I'm saying? You can add to the crisis in the healthcare system. Number 5, if you get sick now, you may not have access to treatments that are still in short supply. And the number 6 reason is the chances of getting long COVID after Omicron haven't been ruled out. So, in conclusion, experts agree Omicron parties are out. Even though it may seem inevitable, quote, it's still worth it to avoid getting COVID if you can, close quote. Quote, getting infected with the Omicron variant is not the same as getting chickenpox. It does not provide lifelong immunity. And just don't do it. Gliss, am I speaking in English? What just don't do it.
I'm with you. You don't got to tell me. I'm with you on this one. I don't I don't have any interest in purposely. For me, the biggest thing too is kind of what you were saying, is that you don't know if you're exposing it to someone else. You don't know what their risks are, and I think that's kind of my overwhelming takeaway from this whole experience over the last couple of years is it's not always just about protecting yourself or protecting the people around you, but just doing the right thing.
Right.
It's like when there was a lot of complaining here when we first had our mask mandate, and it's like, well, I don't have to wear a mask. True, you don't have to wear a mask, but what does it hurt to do it if it's going to potentially keep someone else from getting sick? It's not about being forced to do something. It's just sometimes it's just about doing the right thing.
And it just seems to me, okay, I don't get it, but I get the whole I'm not getting a shot thing, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Wear a mask at least.
Yeah.
I know people that refuse to do both. And it's like, yo, man, one or the other, kid. If I got to walk around with a mask, which actually I don't mind, if I got to walk around with a mask all the time, the least you can do is to wear a mask. Had a conversation with a young person over the weekend who talked to me with his mask on the whole time. And I almost told him to take it off.
Yeah.
But I was so happy. I was like, hey, we can talk.
And it's like you said, it's not that I don't mind it either. And at this point, it was a little weird at first for my kids, but I have a 4-year-old, so I mean he was like 2 when this all started, and I mean it wasn't a big deal. He wears a mask. That's another thing I don't understand. Sometimes I go into the store and I see the parent wearing a mask, and then they have 3 little kids who aren't wearing it, and I'm kind of like, what?
I've seen the opposite. I've seen little kids with masks on, and their parents are just la 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 talking face to face like this. It's like, what are you doing? My man Scott says cloth masks only for me. I don't even know where I can buy N95 or KN95 masks. Me neither. I mean, if you go on Amazon, it's hard to do it. Kobe says I do the best I can. And yes, it is crazy, man. Again, this isn't a to each his own thing either. Just get it together. This is not hard. I swear this isn't hard.
Yeah, Kobe hit it on the head. That sums it up for me. You just do the best you can. If everybody does the best they can, then we're all going to be much better off.
I agree. There's a school of thought that next year will be the end of it because most pandemics last 3 years. We are in year 3. Soon it will be officially year 3, right? Like soon, like February, March, something like that.
Yeah.
Great. Hey man, I'm gonna have a party. It's gonna be me by myself. Everybody stay away from me. That's gonna be the party. This is so dumb. This is so dumb. We could have been out of this months ago. Celebrated Tuskegee Airman Charles McGee made his transition at 102 years old. Charles McGee flew 409 fighter combat missions over 3 wars, and later helped to bring attention to the black pilots who had battled racism at home to fight for freedom abroad. He passed away on Sunday. He died in his sleep at his home in Bethesda, Maryland, said his son, Ron McGee. After the U.S. entry into World War II, McGee left the University of Illinois to join an experimental program for black soldiers seeking to train as pilots after the Army Air Corps was forced to admit African Americans. In October of 1942, he was sent to the Tuskegee Army Airfield in Alabama for flight training, according to his biography on the website of the National Aviation Hall of Fame. Quote, you could say that one of the things we were fighting for was equality, close quote, he told the AP in 1995. Quote, equality of opportunity. We knew we had the same skills or better, close quote. McGee graduated from flight school in June 1943 and in early 1944 joined the all-black 332, the 332nd Fighter Group known as the Red Tails. He flew 136 missions as the group accompanied bombers over Europe. More than 900 men trained at Tuskegee from 1940 to 1946. About 450 deployed overseas, and 150 lost their lives in training or combat. This is significant. There's only a couple of those brothers left in the Tuskegee Airmen. And to think that, I mean, they've made movies, Red Tails, and there was talk about the Washington football team was going to call themselves the Red Tails, something to that effect. Every now and then, there was a Tuskegee Airman living in Chicago for a while that I think made his transition not too long ago. So you would kind of see them. I abhor the idea of war, but I salute those dudes. Can you imagine what they went through? I mean, we're talking about cats who were getting treated like crap at home, getting treated like crap in the middle of a war too. Man, salute to the gentleman, and may his transition be peaceful. That is really sad, though. Wow. I'm kind of at a loss. I don't really know what to say. Charles McGee, salute. One of the last remaining Tuskegee Airmen made his transition on Sunday. Hey, you've been wondering about how Biden's doing? Oh, not so good. And then again, it depends on who you ask. I don't think that he's doing terrible, but he's not. Everybody wants it. It's like when everybody wanted Obama to personally deliver a check to their house. Long story, Gliss. I have to tell you about that one day. By some counts, President Joe Biden can lay claim to a banner first year in office, but numbers also reveal plenty of setbacks. Some notable numbers from Biden's first year. 63.5% vaccination rate. Most Americans got jabbed. Countries with higher vaccination rates. And this is interesting. Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Cambodia, Canada, China, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Norway, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. A 3.9% jobless rate. The low unemployment rate is a big highlight of Biden's first year. He inherited a coronavirus thrashed economy with unemployment at 6.4%. Employers added 6.4 million jobs last year as unemployment dropped well below the 4.6% that the Congressional Budget Office had anticipated in July for the end of 2021. Here's the number with okay, inflation. 7% inflation. In running the economy hot, Biden got burned as inflation reached a nearly 40-year high. Higher prices led to disapproval of Biden's economic leadership. Gasoline and groceries cost more, and some notable economists said higher prices were a sign that Biden's relief package was too large. But you can't tell my man Gliss that relief package was too large.
No, man. I mean, yeah, you're not going to convince me. I mean, you touched on it earlier in that previous story about the economic hardships during the last couple years. And man, I'm lucky that we have some resources available to us, and I was able, because I was at the time working in radio, I was put on furlough, and then eventually they had to make the call to cut a lot of the a lot of the staff. So I did lose my job, but at the same time, I don't know what we would have done otherwise because my kids were home
Right.
doing, online learning. So I mean, I can only imagine what it's like for a single parent, that has, a couple jobs, or, I don't even know what those people do or how they've been able to manage during this time, because it really is difficult between the school stuff and, trying to keep your family healthy and trying to keep your head above water. I mean, it's no joke. There's a lot of people that have, been hurting the last couple years because of all this.
And this is a very extensive article just to say, even if I remember when Biden was running for president, and there were plenty of reasons to not vote for him specifically.
Right.
And I think there would have been better candidates out there.
I agree.
But I remember someone saying, Biden or Trump. And my opinion was Joe Biden could walk down the street in a Nehru suit with a boombox on his neck, playing "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy, and I'd probably still vote for him.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not to
and
say
you're not alone in that sentiment. There was a lot of people that felt that way, that there was no choice other than whoever the choice was.
Yeah, right. And even in this moment, there is still Trump is chirping again and sounding a lot like a guy that's going to run for president in a couple of years. And it's like, well, dude, I mean, do we really need to do this again with you? Did we not see what you did? I saw it. I was putting together a table on January 6, 2021. I know what you did. I saw it. I don't want to see that again. I'm good. Thank you. Go on. Now, this is the one right here, Gliss. Oh, I've been waiting to talk about this. The asteroid. Don't look up. It's coming.
I watched that, by the way.
Did you? What'd you think?
It was very good.
It's very scary.
It is a little scary. Movie. I mean, it's, the whole kind of thing about it is it's basically kind of a metaphor for, the global warming issue. And
right.
It was concerning. My wife actually, she about 2/3 of the way through, she was like, I'm not really interested in watching it anymore. She kind of started watching videos on her phone because she was like, this is just a little too close to home. I think I'm done.
Right. It's a horror movie. They keep saying it's a comedy, but I swear to God, I was scared.
Yeah.
Horror. But it doesn't matter because you really want to be scared, Gliss? This is what you do. You can go. Oh, this is the greatest website ever. I was on it before the show went on. Before we went on the air. So if you'd like to track asteroids in general, in fact, one passed while we were talking.
Oh wow.
Maybe several of them, but one for sure passed while we were talking. Go to eyes.nasa.gov. And when you get there, you will see the site. It's a beautiful website, actually, that is tracking the asteroids that are coming, and they make that noise when they go past. Including this one that's coming next week. Then there's it says Asteroid Watch. Much like Panda Watch, we're on Asteroid Watch. So there's a live countdown. 2022 AY6 is going to pass in 16 minutes. It is a 489,185 kilometer asteroid. It will miss, according to this map. If I'm looking, it's way away from us. We're good. So if you want to have fun with your kids, show them that and explain them what asteroids do to people. There it is. And you just go up there and you hit Asteroid Watch. And what asteroids do to people? They destroy things. You just go up to asteroid. Asteroids will make your backbone longer. You'll be tall with the asteroid because you'll be running straight up trying to get away. And it's a very interesting website. And you can put in the asteroid that is coming. I believe it's P94. Let me make sure I have it right before we go to break. Then one that is on the way, which should be here Tuesday of next week, No, tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, I think. Yeah.
Tomorrow. All
Said
right,
the
we'll be on the
18th.
air. I'm gonna leave the windows open so I can look out and see if I see it. It's a 1994 PC1. That's tomorrow. Um, it is at a comfortably zip by at a distance of 1.2 million miles. That's 1.93 million kilometers from Earth. That's more than 5 times the distance between our planet and the moon. And I'm going to sound like my friend Scott. So if you aren't worried about the moon crashing into your house next week, you shouldn't be worried about the asteroid either. I'm still a little worried, which is why we are on asteroid watch on the drive. When we come back, we have our community report. Gliss, I almost went, what do we have? And it's right in front of my face. When we come back, we'll have our community report. You're watching The Drive with Mario Smith on Backchannel.tv, and you're listening to it on all your Amazon supported devices, and we appreciate it. We'll be back in a bit with The Drive. Welcome back to The Drive with Mario Smith. I am he. I show my shirt. There you go. I'm wearing this for Asteroid Watch, Gliss. Just in case you know.
I like that.
Hey, if it happens, I will make sure to have this nearby tomorrow, and I'll just throw it on. P94, whatever it's called, comes. I want to make sure I'm dressed for it. If you live on the East Coast and you're watching us on YouTube, or if you're listening to us on your Amazon supported device, you're definitely in the house, and we appreciate you being safe and staying in and hanging out with us on the drive. More than 200,000 customers were without power in the eastern United States today after a major winter storm. Well, if you got power and you're watching this, can you let me know on the chat? So who's out there that would affect? I'm looking at our folks. Raphael, I don't know where you are. Freddie's in Louisiana. I believe there's some inclement weather there. Abigail's in Oklahoma. You know, and I don't see him on that one. I know my buddy Scott's family is in New Hampshire. I'd be curious as to how the weather is treating those people out on the East Coast. The storm, which brought snow to the northern plains and the upper Midwest over the weekend, but not Chicago, baby. It's dry as a bone, appeared to spur thousands of flight cancellations between Sunday and Monday. In North Carolina, the Department of Transportation told Tar Heel State residents to stay home and off flooded and ice-slicked roads Monday. Dreaded black ice made driving particularly treacherous near the North Carolina and Tennessee border, North Carolina emergency management officials said. Storms in North Carolina appeared to play a role in the deaths of 2 people Sunday after a vehicle veered off Interstate 95 before striking several trees in a median. Nearly 700 miles south in southwest Florida, multiple tornadoes were blamed for destroying more than 24 homes and damaging others in Lee County on the Gulf Coast, while thousands of homes were left without power. There were multiple tornadoes in southwest Florida on Sunday morning, the National Weather Service in Miami said. 4 people were injured, 34 homes demolished, and 62 houses were rendered unlivable by the weekend tornadoes. Lee County Board of Commissioners co-chairman Cecil Pendergrass told NBC News on Monday. The misery was brightened rather, by one small miracle as Fort Myers resident Edward Murray feared his dog Coco had perished as a tornado ripped his home apart. Coco was found safe, and the county is working with those impacted to provide shelter, Pendergrass said. Pendergrass said the EF2 tornado had also left around 7,000 homes without power. By early Monday morning, just under 1,150 homes in Florida appeared to be without power, according to the online tracker poweroutage.us. One hell of a storm that, if I can be a meteorologist for a second, I don't have the green screen up, but imagine the storm came, we're going to say like here, and it made a U. We're going to go that way. So it went U and avoided Chicago. We were on the tail of it, so there was snow, but nothing measurable. And it just kept going, and it's rolling up the East Coast now. And it's a mess. So if you're able to see us on the East Coast, thank you. Stay safe, stay indoors, stay out the way, and protect yourselves as best as you can. And if you're any of those folks down south, I am sure that there are many efforts afoot to keep you safe and to give you the help that you may need. This is a strong storm. Did it do anything in Portland, man? Or were you guys good?
No, we're good. We've had pretty mild weather actually the last couple weeks. We had the week of Christmas. It was very cold here, some freezing temperatures. A little bit. We had some snow for a few days, but the last couple weeks it's actually been pretty nice for this time of year. So.
I would say, all things considered, we have avoided a lot of horrible weather in the city. It's been cold. But there was for a weekend where it was like the United Center ice skating rink when the Blackhawks play. There was ice everywhere, just a constant sheet of ice. A lot of people. I'm not laughing at this. It tickles me that this is happening. A lot of people fell, went to the hospital, and couldn't get looked at because there were so many people in the hospital with COVID who were unvaccinated, so they had to be taken care of first. Heard a really tragic story. A gentleman a friend of mine owns a bar not too far from here. His friend fell. He was drunk, fell, thought he was okay, went home, laid down, never got up. So, you know what I'm saying? If the conditions are bad, be careful. Just hang out with me and Gliss. We got nothing to do for another hour. Just hang out.
No reason to go out in the ice. You don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do. I did it because I had to come home. But I mean, I like holding on to things looking like a 95-year-old man walking home. So I was good.
Kind of like that, actually.
Oh, I wish I could have. I should have. I had it in my hand too. I should have just been, help, help me. It was wild. So be very, very careful. Speaking of Florida, man, I don't know if I should be happy he did it or if I should be very concerned that he's been doing it. But Donald Trump has been walking Ron DeSantis lately. And this is from Axios. Donald Trump is trashing Ron DeSantis in private as an ingrate. It takes one to know one, with a dull personality and no realistic chance of beating him in a potential 2024 showdown, according to sources who've recently talked to the former president about the Florida governor. The two are among the most popular Republicans in the country, and as the former president eyes another run in 2024, he's irked by DeSantis's popularity and refusal to rule out running against him. DeSantis is a favor of Republican voters when pollsters remove Trump from the hypothetical 2024 field. The governor also hasn't been beyond tweaking his fellow Floridian. DeSantis said on the Ruthless podcast recorded last week, one of his biggest regrets in office was not speaking out much louder in March 2020 when Trump advised the American public to stay home to slow the spread of the coronavirus. In the context of the 2024 election, he usually gives DeSantis, this is Trump, a pop in the nose in the middle of that type of conversation, said a source who recently spoke to Trump about DeSantis. The source who shared the private remarks on the condition of anonymity, great name for a band, Gliss. The condition of anonymity. I gotta write that down.
That is really good. That's solid.
This is me fake writing. The condition of anonymity, live at the Metro presents the condition of anonymity. Yes, using it. Has heard Trump criticize DeSantis on multiple occasions. The source said Trump makes a point of saying he isn't worried about the Florida governor as a potential 2024 rival. He says DeSantis has no personal charisma and has a dull personality. Sir, may I step in, Mr. Trump? You say he has no charisma and a dull personality. Brother, have you looked at some of those videos of you from 2016 when you tried to turn the government over because you want to stay in office to do some kind of diabolical Marvel movie-esque whatever you were on? I'm not telling people how to vote. I'm not suggesting one way or the other because that's not my job. I just want to know, did you like all that? Was that cool? What we witnessed those 4 years? That was okay with you? People not knowing how the government works? All you got to do is watch the Daily Show to see how America thinks the government works. And then here's Trump. Now he's attacking DeSantis. That was his boy. He loved him.
That's the most entertaining part to me. When are these people going to learn that just because you have Trump's back, it doesn't matter. He will push you to the side. Yeah, he will push you to the side. He will turn on you in an instant. And the people's loyalty to him is hilarious because he doesn't care.
He's like a bad WWE wrestler.
Yeah.
Not like a good wrestler that does bad stuff, but he's like a terrible wrestler. He's like the Horowitz dude that used to have the hand on his back.
Oh, yeah.
When he wrestled many years ago, he used to pat himself on the back. He's a bad heel. He's not even good at being a heel. He's just terrible. Yet everybody, I love Donald Trump. I want to do it again. I had so much fun. No, you didn't. You did not. Had it not been for coronavirus, dude, I am pretty sure we would have seen some really wild, you know what, coming from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Boy, I'm telling you, Donald Trump strikes again. He is not going to go away.
No.
So over the weekend, my sister lives out on the West Coast, and I was alerted that there was a tsunami advisory for the United States West Coast, which has now been lifted after a volcanic eruption in the Pacific. That noise you hear, by the way, is a freight train that goes right past my house. Can you hear that?
No, I can't hear it.
Okay, good, because it's scary loud. Are your gardeners still outside?
No, but the neighbor is playing basketball out there, so I hear a basketball bouncing.
All right, I didn't hear that either. I hope that they get like a couple of good shots in and a couple of dunks and just say, you know what, I'm too old for this. I'm going to go inside. The tsunami advisory was lifted Sunday for parts of the U.S. West Coast and Alaska after a volcano erupted in the Pacific on Saturday. And if you've seen the images of this volcano erupting oh my goodness gracious. The only thing that didn't happen, Gliss, I've been calling for it for 3 years now. Godzilla coming out the ocean, just walking and just screwing up everybody's life. Not a chance. The initial tsunami advisory, meaning a dangerous wave on the way, was issued for the West Coast and Alaska on Saturday morning. And tsunamis are extremely serious. Please don't at me. I know how serious it is. Despite warnings from officials to stay away from Northern California beaches, rescue crews pulled 5 people to safety after they ventured too close to the ocean waters, churned up by the surge from Saturday's tsunami, CBS San Francisco reported. A U.S. State Department spokesman said Saturday that American citizens in Tonga and Fiji have been alerted or were alerted to a tsunami warning. And apparently it's really bad in Tonga. And that might be another place worth keeping an eye on in terms of assisting with relief and whatnot. It's not a good situation from what I've read. And I got to go back to Donald Trump for a second. Gary T says that's the toupee calling it fake. You know, I've got my thoughts about that thing on his head and whatever's underneath it. Do you remember when he ripped the mask off when he was on the side of the White House that nobody ever sees on TV? When he had COVID, but then he came back and he ripped it off. Gliss, I was waiting. I was waiting for the Legion of Doom or some other nefarious dark organization to just come out of the woodwork and him just standing there as the leader and they'd all be behind him in their costumes because he's his own cosplay, so he already has his evil villain costume on, and it didn't happen. I was very disappointed because I was looking forward to that.
It was a very theatrical moment, that's for sure.
He gets out the Air Force One, not Air Force One, the helicopter, Marine One, and he walks into the house. And he stands there and he looks and then he's done. And he's like this big unveiling of this super villain. I'm like, dude, you just had COVID. Aren't you tired? Don't you want to take a nap? Incredible. We lived in the upside down, brother, but we're gonna make it right side up on the drive, I promise you. And really quick, I'm stepping too far ahead of myself. You know what? That's it. We're good. We're good. We are celebrating or observing Martin Luther King's birthday today in the United States, and we are really glad that you all are here. When we come back, we will have we're not leaving yet, Gliss. Hold on. I'm sorry. I just looked at the clock. That's too soon. Gosh, why am I in a hurry? Where am I? I'm not going nowhere after this is over. Make some dinner, maybe. I'm in the crib. Where am I going? Let me do a couple of these though. So if you're looking for the mail, don't. If you're looking for a chance to go talk to your banker, too late. You already know that. And the stock market was closed today. And this day in history in 2000, decrying the Confederate flag as a symbol of slavery and racism, nearly 50,000 people marched to South Carolina State House on Martin Luther King Day to demand the banner be taken down. If I'm not mistaken, Bree Newsom took the banner down. The flag down on this day, right? I might have been today. In 1994, at least 57 died after an earthquake measuring 6.7 on the Richter scale hits the San Fernando Valley, 20 miles northeast of downtown Los Angeles. And real quick, in music history on this day, soul giant Billy Stewart, 32, is killed in a car crash. You know, when I saw this earlier, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Also, even though I was 3, I think, when this song came out, I swear I thought Psychedelic Shack was made in the 60s. Psychedelic Shack by the Temptations enters the U.S. top 40 chart in 1970. On this day in 1971, and I did not know this, Marvin Gaye sang the national anthem at Super Bowl V in Miami. I bet you it didn't sound anything like it did in 1984 when he sang it at the Forum at the NBA All-Star Game. Ooh. And in that's still one of my favorite.
I think that's my favorite anthem of all time.
I think he nailed the accuracy of how ridiculous it is to sing a song about war, my opinion. But he did it so good, and everybody was like, whoa, I don't believe he's killing the national anthem. He's destroying that. Man, he enhanced it, made it so much better.
Yeah.
And Rockwell's album, Somebody's Watching Me, is released in 1984. Today would have been Betty White's 100th birthday. Born on this day also in 1931, James Earl Jones. In 1957, Steve Harvey was born today. He's 65 years old. Jim Carrey turned 60 today. Chicagoan Dwayne Wade, who played for the Miami Heat and tried to make up for it by playing for the Bulls, it didn't work, turned 40 today. And my favorite athlete of all time, Muhammad Ali, turns, or would have been, wait a minute, when was he born? What is this? Would have been his birthday today. I'm trying to remember how old he is, and I can't go around saying someone's my favorite and not know how old he would have been. But his birthday would have been today. We come back, we will bring you the headlines at the top of the hour and all kinds of other fun and merriment as we go through the celebrity world. And have no fear, the camera's here. You're watching The Drive with Mario Smith. We'll be back. This is Backchannel.tv. Good afternoon, everybody. You're watching The Drive with Mario Smith on Backchannel.tv. I am him, Mario Smith. Joining us in Portland, Oregon is the producer of all producers, Mr. Jay Gliss. Good afternoon, sir.
What's up, Mario?
You know, just doing a show from the corner of my house.
Well, you're doing a great job.
That's all right. I've done worse things. Trust me. Ooh, buddy. I can tell you some stories. We got celebrity news coming up in a second, but we want to update everybody about what's taking place at this hour. History will be watching what happens tomorrow. Martin Luther King III demands that the Senate pass voting rights legislation, and a Kentucky candle factory that was threatening to lay off or fire, pink slip, their workers if they try to avoid the tornado that happened last week. 250 workers got pink slips. The candle factory has shut down. That's what's happening at this hour on Martin Luther King Day here in the United States of America. And this is a day of action and a day of, it's day on, not day off. And we're going to talk about a lot of things in this next, in this hour regarding Dr. King, and got a little something for you at the end as well to kind of bring it home. And we hope that you are here for all of those things. Let's get to it, Gliss. Have no fear, the camera's here. It's time to talk celebrity talk. No? Yes. Yes? No?
Let's just roll with it. Sorry about that.
No, hey man, you know what? I'm good. I did my television thing.
I was loading another video for later, this special video, and I don't want to get in the way of it. Yeah.
No. Did you see me do the TV thing though? How I said
I did. You set me up perfectly, and I dropped the ball.
How about if I show a picture of Michael Jackson's Off the Wall album just to put everyone at ease?
There you go.
There you go. It was just sitting by me, as I might listen to it later.
Foul by the producer right there.
That's okay. Let's try it again. Well, hold on.
Well, here, hold on.
I am so sure what's happening in California right now. They're like, what in the hell are those two doing?
I got to make sure this special. I just want to make sure we get this special thing in for the end of the show, because that's
yeah, no doubt. And while you're doing that, real quick, what's up, Mahi? This is Mahi's first time on the stream. Kobe said hello, shirt. Okay, I guess he's talking about my shirt. Thank you, Kobe. And Freddie and Abigail and Nathan, what's up, you guys? And Mahi and Jacob and Scott and Gary, who also suggested we check out the PBS special on Billy Stewart called Fat Boy. It talks a little bit more about what happened to him. Hey, Lawson. Hey, Scott. Hey, everybody watching on YouTube. And hey, everybody checking us out on your Amazon supported devices. It is now time, as I look in the screen to see my friend Gliss here.
Yeah, now that I butchered it, yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, let me do the TV thing again.
All right.
It's I kept this face the whole time, Gliss.
Yeah, I saw.
Have no fear, the camera's here for real. Netflix is at it again. Ooh-wee, Netflix is about to raise prices yet again. The streaming media company said Friday it's raising prices on its plans in the United States and Canada. In the U.S., the subscription price for the standard plan rose $1.50 to $15.49. The basic plan went up $1 to $9.99, and the premium plan has increased $2 to $19.99. In Canada, hello Canada. In Canada, the price for Netflix's standard plan also went up $1.50 to $16.49 Canadian. The premium plan went up $2 to $20.99 Canadian. Its basic plan was unchanged. Explaining its decision, Netflix provided a statement to CNN that was identical to its comment from October 2020, the last time it raised its prices. Here we go. Quote, We understand people have more entertainment choices than ever, and we're committed to delivering an even better experience for our members, close quote, a Netflix spokesperson said. Quote, we're updating our prices so that we can continue to offer a wide variety of quality entertainment options. As always, we offer a range of plans so members can pick a price that works for their budget, close quote. Netflix's stock rose roughly 2% following the news. The pricing increase comes a week before the streaming company is set to announce its fourth quarter earnings, but the reason behind the company's move is pretty simple. It has been spending billions of dollars on content, and as streaming becomes more integral to the entertainment landscape, growth for companies like Netflix tends to slow and attracting new subscribers gets harder. The Harder They Fall has won a major award. Um, the Harder They Fall, which was on Netflix, wins best picture at the wins best picture at the African American Film Critics Association Awards. Chicago and Deion Cole is in that movie, by the way. The Harder They Fall won top honors at this year's AAFCA Awards, taking home the prize for Best Picture. The Netflix Western led the field alongside Warner Brothers' King Richard, with both releases netting 4 awards across all categories. Along with Best Picture, The Harder They Fall also won awards in Best Director for Jamie's Samuel, Best Music for Samuel, Kid Cudi, and Jay-Z, and Best Ensemble. Meanwhile, King Richard landed wins in Best Actor for Will Smith, Best Supporting Actress for Anjuan Ellis, Breakout Actor for Sania Sidney, and Emerging Actor for Reynaldo Marcus Green. Other major wins from the awards included Jennifer Hudson in Respect for Best Actress, Corey Hawkins in The Tragedy of Macbeth for Best Supporting Actor, and Don't Look Up for Best Screenplay. The winners will be honored at the group's 13th annual awards ceremony on March 2nd at the SLS Hotel in Los Angeles, California. I don't know if you had a chance to see any of those flicks, man. The Harder They Fall, yeah, it's good stuff. There's a lot of historical inaccuracies. Just act like, suspend your disbelief and enjoy The Harder They Fall. King Richard, also ex Will Smith. He may not win Best Actor. He's going to be recognized, though. I think he's going to get nominated for Best Actor at the Academy Awards. And the Trials of Macbeth. I don't know why we aren't putting bubble wrap on Denzel Washington. As an actor, he is beyond. There's nobody better than him. There just isn't anyone better than him. There are people who are really, really good at what they do. That dude is the best at what he does. And I was forced to learn Macbeth in high school. That was one of our requirements to graduate from or to get out of English. And that's a hard read. It's a tough watch. Any of the movies I've ever seen about Macbeth are hard to watch. This one, man, Denzel. That's all I'm saying. Absolutely great movie. So, unlike the last time we did a report about the Oscars, I am totally prepared with movies I've actually seen, Bliss. Yeah, it's all about the knowing.
I haven't seen any of those. I need to get them on my list. We have a long list of movies we need to get through. So
definitely check out The Harder They Fall. Really good stuff. Did you watch Saturday Night Live Saturday?
I did not. I heard about it.
The cold open for SNL totally blamed Spider-Man for all of the nation's problems. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Do you hear me? And Joe Biden from the alternate universe came, and it was good stuff. James Austin Johnson's impression of Joe Biden is pretty damn spot on, man. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. The premise was everything started happening really bad on the week after December 17th when Spider-Man came out. And the reason why the country is sick and why everybody's going crazy is because everybody went to go see Spider-Man. And had no one went to go see Spider-Man, everything would be fine. It is. If you get a chance to check it out on YouTube. Quite funny, man. It won. It won me and my heart. I was very pleased with what I saw. SNL, every now and then, man, they hit it out the park. Not all the time, but every now and then they absolutely. And this was one. They knocked it out of the ballpark. Celine Dion has canceled her North America tour due to what she's calling persistent health problems. All right, this is where we talk. I didn't know that. See, I thought she retired.
Yeah, I thought she did too. Well, the last time I knew of her performing was I knew she had a residency in Vegas for a long time, and she was kind of one of the staples on the strip, like her and Elton John and
Yeah.
a couple other artists. But I didn't know that she was actually touring at all. But
Did she get sick from hitting herself in the chest all the time when she sings? Because she's always beating herself to death.
I
I'm
guess
just
that's
saying.
possible.
God, I have alienated the Celine Dion fan. I'm sorry. What's up, Isaac in North Carolina? Are you doing well with the weather, man? Say something in the chat, brother, so we can know that you're okay. Clearly you are. You're able to check out the show. And let me see, how are you watching us? You're actually listening to us on your Amazon supported device, so you can't see my bright red glasses. Good for you. But yeah, I thought she had quit. I thought she had said, I'm good. I've sang here far wherever you are, and I've made all this money. I really can't keep making money. I'm done. But apparently not. I'm learning. I like Celine Dion. I'm just kidding. Bob Saget was laid to rest Friday in Los Angeles with a small service that included family and friends like John Stamos, Deb Coulier, Candace Cameron Burr, Jodie Sweetin, Lori Loughlin, and Mary-Kate and Ashley. I know we said it last week. But yeah, unfortunate for Bob Saget. I didn't see what the official word was of his cause of death. Did you?
I have not seen that yet. The last I had seen was that he had been bad. Like I think that they said there was some concern that it was maybe COVID related, but they said that he was vaccinated, that there wasn't any foul play or anything like that. But I haven't seen any updates since then.
Kobe is saying he'd like a glass. I'm not drinking. Do I appear drunk? Am I acting like I'm drunk?
I don't think so.
I swear, I don't think anybody on here except for a handful of people have ever seen me drunk. Pretty sober right now. I mean, what time is it? It's a shade too early for all that activity, Kobe.
Yeah.
Unless you got snowed on.
I mean, 4:00 your time. You're getting right in that time period.
Oh, I know, it's in the refrigerator waiting on me.
What's a Mario Smith post? Is it a cocktail, a glass of wine, a beer?
A combination of all three. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding. It would be a beer, just so I can kind of, like right before we have. So behind the curtain, we have a talk after the show to talk about how what we did, what didn't work, et cetera, et cetera. And usually I'm making dinner or I'm sipping on a beer, and it will be a beer, and I think it's a sour, and I'm not fond of sours. Yeah. But I'm gonna drink it because it's a beer and it's in my refrigerator and it's been in there since yesterday, and I really want it.
It's what you got. It's what you got.
That's what I mean. And then I'll have wine with my dinner.
There you go.
Because I'm fancy, like that. Gary is saying it would take 10 to 12 weeks to find out his cause of death. Yeah, that's true. Especially since they said they didn't see any. We're talking about Bob Saget. Just since there was no foul play, no apparent foul play. It'll be a minute before we know exactly what happened. An Abraham Lincoln docuseries is coming to Apple TV Plus on February 18th. No offense to old Abe. This is not the day to announce that, is it? On Martin Luther King Day?
No. Yeah.
That's weird. And what are we going to learn exactly? What new are we going to learn?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, there was that movie, a few years back. It was
with Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah,
very good. Another great actor right there.
Man, that dude is amazing.
Yeah, he's
an amazing actor.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have said amazing American actor with it, but I mean, that sounds like the best though. If you see this Macbeth joint, you'll be like, "Oh my god, he's really good."
I'm a big Denzel fan. I have not seen
sold it
yet, but I take your word for it. I'm sure he's amazing because everything he touches is gold. So
the only movie that he ever made that I thought was weird was Carbon Copy, and that was like his first movie. You got to look for that. I think he might have scrubbed that from Earth. That movie was not really good. He was a kid too, and the premise was he couldn't play basketball.
Yeah.
And in real life, Denzel will take you to the hole where he used to. He's like 60 now. He's probably retired from basketball playing. I don't know. Obama's still dropping threes on people. He's 60 or close to it. But yeah, Denzel. But yeah, check it out, Macbeth, man. But again, what are we gonna learn about that? What? Okay, Abraham Lincoln had what? Um. Oh, okay. We have. It's cleared up now. Our back channel chat is kind of weird. So I thought he said he'd like a glass. He says he likes my glasses. Kobe. All right. I had the whole rant about drinking there. Thank you, Kobe, for providing the show content. My man. Make it easier for me and Gliss, please. as we have things to do today. We're gonna speed it along a little bit, Gliss. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a short break before we get ready to talk sports, and then I've got some things to say about today's holiday that may or may not surprise you. Just some things that I've seen in my life regarding Martin Luther King and how he is treated and how he was treated. We're going to take care of all that, including sports coming up next and play ball. It's The Drive with Mario Smith on Backchannel.tv. Welcome back to The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. And those of you who are checking us out on your Amazon supported devices, thank you so much for listening / watching. However you're doing it, we appreciate it. And feel free to join the chat. That is always fun. And you can do that on YouTube at Backchannel.tv, or you can activate your device and say chat with The Drive, and it will do that. And Kobe, I appreciate the fact that you like my glasses. Thank you so much. Before we run through the sports, I do want to mention something that it's local, but it deserves to be mentioned because everybody should have known who this guy was. And Gliss, you may have known who he was. A sports media icon passed away yesterday, and the news came out very early this morning. His name was Les Grobstein. Les Grobstein hosted overnights at the local sports station here, The Score. He's a 50-year radio veteran, and he couldn't have been nicer. One of the nicest men I've ever had the pleasure. Never met him, but we would talk when I would call his show, and we had a mutual friend that does TV or did TV with him. Les and his legions of fans were synonymous with sports radio overnight. There are not that many cities that do overnight sports, local sports. Most of those shows are like syndicated. Les was an amazing talent. He died at the age of 69, and it goes without saying that he will be missed. I am having a hard time imagining what I'm going to listen to when on those nights when I can't sleep. I used to just tune in to make sure he was there, and it's it's going to be tough for people in Chicago. So, Les Grobstein, the Grobber, died at the age of 69, and to say he will be missed is a understatement. At least for radio heads like myself. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Let's run through some of these sports things. It's a full slate in the NBA today. They're playing ball all over the place. We'll get to that in a second. There is a solid probability that Novak Djokovic will miss the French Open as France passes a new vaccine law. This dude, he could change his name, Gliss, to Can't Get Right, because he can't do right or get right. Novak Djokovic could be barred from playing in the French Open as things stand now, after the sports ministry said Monday there'd be no exemption from France's new vaccine law. Number one player in the world, Djokovic, arrived in his native Serbia on Monday after being deported from Australia on Sunday because he's not vaccinated against COVID-19. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić has accused the Australian government of harassing the top-ranked tennis star who lost the legal battle to overturn the decision to revoke his visa. Vučić urged Djokovic to return where he would be welcomed. But even as he flew home, doubts arose over whether Djokovic would be allowed to play at Roland Garros. France's vaccine pass law, approved by Parliament on Sunday, will require people to have a certificate of vaccination to enter public spaces such as sports venues, restaurants, cafes, cinemas, and long-distance trains. Quote, the rule is simple. The vaccine pass will be imposed as soon as the law is promulgated in establishments that were already subject to the health pass, the ministry said. Quote, this will apply to everyone who is a spectator or a professional sports person, and this until further notice. So he may have played his way out of the French Open too. And I don't know what he's going to do when he gets to the U.S. because I'm not quite sure that he's going to be able to play here. He kind of, dude, Djokovic, what are you doing? Just get it. Just get it.
Well, it's kind of, I'm curious to see how he plays it this time with everything he just went through, wasting the trip to go all the way to Australia and then ending up getting not being able to participate and having to leave the country. It'll be interesting to see what his stance is this time around.
I mean, it's really not hard for him to. I believe because he is the self-proclaimed greatest tennis player ever, although I think Serena Williams would have something to say about that. Getting this vaccine should not be the end of his career. But if he's unable to play in Australia, France, here, and maybe he won't be able to play in the UK either, that's the Grand Slam. That's all of them. What is he going to do? He looks good in those Lacoste shirts, though, doesn't he? Wearing that alligator. That alligator probably got the vaccine, I bet. Not afraid. Come on, Djokovic. Stand up for yourself. I mean, I guess he is standing up for himself because he doesn't want to get the vaccine, but he won't be able to make a living.
Yeah.
That's weird. Speaking of people making a living, and I do have something to say about this guy, quarterback Ben Roethlisberger reflects on Pittsburgh's legacy, the Steelers' legacy, and looks forward to next chapter after season ends and wild card loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. They got walked last night by the Chiefs. That was embarrassing. And as far as last games go for an athlete, not the worst way to go out. He can't throw 5 yards, so it was pretty much over for him anyway. But the problem I got, Gliss, help me remember, wasn't he accused of some really heinous, what's the word I'm looking for, rape?
Not once, but twice.
Yeah, didn't he kick a bathroom door in on a woman and rape her? Or was alleged to have raped her?
Allegedly. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we got to be careful with...
Yeah, I'm not calling. I don't want to...
But I agree. I mean, for me personally, that's a hard one to get over. I've felt a certain way about him since that first incident. Had some hesitation. Then when there was a second one, and it's kind of difficult because you never know. There is people out there that probably tried to take advantage of people in positions of power, or that try to you know take advantage of people with money or people
Hmm.
that are famous. But you can't discount the allegations, and if I remember correctly, the first case, I believe it was dropped because they basically just drug her through the mud and basically made her out to be a crazy person, which she
Hmm.
did have, some mental health issues. But that doesn't discount something horrible happening to her. And so I think you got to be really careful and just assuming that nothing took place. And then when it happens a second time, for me, that's the big tell, because if you're accused a second time when you've already been through it once, that's a little bit different to me. It's a little harder to look at it and say, well, there could have been some misinterpretation, or
Right.
maybe it was somewhere in the middle. When it happens a second time, that's a lot different.
But I mean, the mere fact that he was accused not once but twice,
Yeah,
and put himself in positions to be accused not
yeah,
once but twice, is a character issue. The NFL completely ignored it, but other players did heinous things and were suspended or got fined heavily or put out the league. I mean, and I don't want to do this to upset anybody, but Colin Kaepernick didn't do physically anything to anyone. He put a knee on the turf and he can't play football anymore. And this dude allegedly raped two women, allegedly kicked a bathroom stall in on one when he was drunk. Same guy that drove his motorcycle drunk and smashed his entire face in.
yeah.
I mean,
And very no accountability for any of the mishaps that he's had in his career. And I granted, this is what was the woman who was involved with Stormy Daniels.
mhm.
Take her, whatever you want to say about her, you can make your own opinions. But she, in her book, I believe, had commented on her interaction with Ben Roethlisberger and painted him to be a pretty creepy dude. So again, who knows what's true, what's not true, but when you start to see a pattern, it's concerning, and I've never been able to shake that personally. So I mean, good luck to him in retirement, but I personally am not going to miss the guy.
Not in the least bit. And, I could throw 5 yards, dude. And I'm
Yeah,
54 years old. I think I
hey,
could throw
you
10.
could play quarterback for the Steelers.
I'm pretty sure I could and play it effectively well. Today is MLK Day in the United States, and one of the stories that's out today is Hall of Famer Oscar Robertson, the Big O, and his the stories in the Undefeated. He says, "I never thought about giving up or quitting." When questioned about MLK's legacy, um, the first overall pick of the Cincinnati Royals, now the Sacramento Kings, in the 1960 NBA draft, Robertson is the grandson of enslaved people and the son of sharecroppers, born in 1938 in rural Tennessee, in a country that didn't recognize his humanity as a black person due to Jim Crow segregation in the South. Robertson wasn't allowed to attend grade school in his own town. His father moved the family north to Indianapolis in search of equality. Instead, they found housing discrimination and the KKK. And while racial segregation allowed Robertson to live in relative peace in his all black neighborhood and at his all black grade schools, it also hardened him for a life and career in sports that, like the rest of America, was still coming around to the idea of black social progress. He spoke out when he wasn't allowed to sleep in the same hotels as his white teammates, publicly opposed apartheid in South Africa, and as possibly the most direct result of King's message, Robertson became the face of labor rights when he successfully sued the NBA to pave the way for free agency in professional basketball. Um, and I wanted to make sure that we got to this list because the NBA has gone out of their way to make Martin Luther King Day almost as big as Christmas Day. There are 12 games today. One of them started at noon Central with the Knicks, who lost. Bing bong. Um, and there's a bit of a question about how much is the NBA doing really in terms of social justice, and they're doing a lot. Their players, like the WNBA players, will straight say, "You know what? We're not playing today," and
Yeah,
the NBA is like, "We understand that." And I don't think any other league is able to say or do that. Not the NFL, definitely. Not Major League Baseball, although they're great players. If they said we are not playing, would probably take heed, although their commissioner's a bit of a thing. Um, Hockey doesn't do it. The NBA has been very good about being at the front of social justice issues. And it doesn't come off as performative, a word you'll be hearing in a few minutes when we talk about Dr. King. But it seems like, and this is part of the dialogue later that I want to have. It seems like people take this day, and we're saying the same thing with athletes that we've been saying forever about athletes in this country. And if they are really the bell cow for what's happening socially, shouldn't we be listening a little bit better? I go back to Colin Kaepernick. He merely took a knee to bring attention to something that people were acting like they couldn't see. The NBA, in turn, when George Floyd was killed, we're not playing tonight.
Yeah.
There's no way we're going to play. We are not getting on the floor. We are not about to play tonight. We can't. Lot to be said for people like Oscar Robertson, who paved the way with his activism. Bill Russell, same thing. And there's a lot to be said about how other sports leagues just don't seem to get that same message that there are problems here. And the addressing of those problems creates the dialogue that's necessary so those things aren't problems anymore. It's 2022 and we're still having the same conversation. I don't want to say it's irritating, it's annoying that we're still having these conversations, particularly on days like today. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. The NBA, I think for a while now, has been by far the most progressive in allowing athletes to use their platform in positive ways. And you brought up Colin Kaepernick. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he's still considered a villain, by a lot of people all these years later. I mean, it's only been 5, 6, 7 years. But I mean, what he did was something that I think most people believe like is part of our values, and that's in a way, to me, it's patriotic for him to use his platform to bring attention to an important issue. And like you said, it's disappointing that on a day like today, we still can look back at that and realize that he definitely moved the conversation forward. But I mean, he's still considered by a lot of people as, some sort of villain when all he did was try to raise awareness and he got blackballed for it. I mean, you can say whatever you want, that he wasn't. I mean, he went to I'm a 49er fan. He went to a Super Bowl. He played in a Super Bowl. So this argument that, he was somehow some terrible quarterback, was he an elite quarterback? I don't know. He was still young in his career. At times he showed flashes of being really, really good, and he played in the Super Bowl. But here we are all these years later and still having the same conversations. So it's definitely disappointing.
Speaking of the association, on the hardwood this afternoon, the Knicks and the Hornets played on MLK Day. Hornets over New York 97-87. Other finals, the 76ers lost to the Wizards. Unbelievable. 117-98. The Celtics took it on the chin from the Pelicans. The Celtics beat the Pelicans 104-92. The Clippers and the Pacers. Clippers over the Pacers right now in the fourth quarter, 112-102. And the Bulls are getting walked again. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. Ja Morant, man. 102-76. No Levine, no Caruso, no Javonte Green, no Lonzo Ball. Like 7 players are not playing. And now it's not COVID, it's injury. Levine had to get an MRI on his knee Friday night during the game against Golden State that they got walked. And so, this is walking season. Hey, Ramona, thank you for joining. This is your first time on Backchannel in Alabama, and you're watching us. Thank you. We appreciate it. And to everybody, Freddie and Nathan and Abigail and Kobe and Ramona and Isaac and Marquise in Washington and G in Oregon. And to all our friends watching, Gary and Scott and the others, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Those are the scores that are happening. And there's games tonight, actually. Jazz, Lakers later. Magic, Trailblazers are in Orlando for the Magic. That's later this evening. Raptors in the Heat, the Thunder and the Mavericks and the Suns and the Spurs. That's all on the hardwood tonight in the Association. Now it's time to do it. I wanted to save the best for last. Wild card weekend happened in the United States, and it was kind of dull.
It was a flop. Other than that Niners game, I mean, there was a lot of one-sided football. It was not very entertaining.
I think we can make a case now that the 7th seed thing should go away.
Yeah.
Like last year, Indianapolis was the 7th seed, but they were 11-3 or something.
Right.
And it was all weird last year. Not 11-3, that's impossible. But that was all weird last year. And it you know, a million ways that could have went. And then this year, though, Philly was not ready for any of that. And Pittsburgh was not ready for any of that. That's ridiculous. But how about that Cowboys game? Let's talk about your boys, your 49ers.
And that's the thing too. That game was the only game that I think was somewhat entertaining, but it started off like it was looking like it was going to trend the same way as the other games.
Yeah.
Because the Niners came out and punched them in the mouth. They had a nice, clean drive that first drive of the game, and it looked like they were, going to kind of trend towards the other games and make it a snore fest. But luckily, the Cowboys came through a little bit and at least made it entertaining.
There was
a little crazy at the end.
Yeah, there was a point in the game where you popped into my head, and I'm like, okay, I really kind of want to ask him a question about the show for this week. But if I call him now, he's going to lose his mind, because it was right when the Cowboys finally figured out football and, despite their terrible coach, decided they were going to actually play football. And I didn't call. And then the time was running out. And I'm like, oh, this is the best part of the weekend so far.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they did. And I don't know how they just came to the conclusion. But McCarthy's a ding dong. If he called that last play, if that was his play,
yeah, and
he should be fired.
There's a lot of chatter this morning.
A lot of people are saying that he made that call
and that he might be on his way out. So
I can't imagine the tiny Jerry Jones letting that ride, because he thought it was Super Bowl or bust. But I know that the regular season champion Cowboys. My friend called me this morning. He said they should make a President's Trophy for the NFL, like they do in the NHL. The President's Trophy is for like the team that comes so close but doesn't do anything, and that should be the Cowboys' permanent trophy. Just give them the President's Trophy.
Has a big star on it.
Big Dallas. Put a picture of their stadium, AT&T Stadium, on it.
Yeah,
they have not won in 11 years in the playoffs.
Yeah, they just. Something always goes wrong, and like I said, I was nervous. I felt like it was trending the other way. I don't know if you remember I think it was week 3 or 4. The Niners and the Packers played on Sunday Night Football, and they gave Aaron Rodgers the ball back with like a minute 50 to go, and they were up by like, I think they were up by 2 points or something like that. And I was just like, and so I was having PTSD last night, because I was like, they're only up by 6 points. A touchdown wins the game. Like, they're giving them the ball back with 3 minutes. You have Dak Prescott, who's playing unbelievable. And I thought for sure Dallas was going to go down there and get a touchdown.
Seemed like it. There was no reason at all for that game to end the way that it did. No. And for the Cowboys to be in that position. Who knows what Dak Prescott does with time to clock it, kill the clock for a second, and then actually run a play, because they were on the 35-yard line. They were pretty close.
I think they were closer than that. I think they were somewhere in the
20s.
Yeah, I think it was like the 22 or 26 or something like that.
Yeah, they were close.
They were close enough to get a good shot with those receivers, with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, who that kid is super talented.
Yeah, he is.
Those two receivers and Dak Prescott, slinging it in the end zone for one last shot. Like, I don't know if I would have even been able to look at the TV for the last.
I thought about you, brother. I was like, uh-oh. This Monday show may be very tense.
Yeah.
Come on, 49ers. But if they don't have any juice, and we'll talk about the matchups in a second, if they don't have any, if their players are gone, if that lineman is hurt and Bosa isn't able to play.
Yeah. It sounds like Fred Warner. It sounds like Fred Warner said he's good. So that's big because
they need him.
Ooh, it looked like a knee injury. Like when it first happened, I was thinking, oh, he just tore his ACL.
Yeah, he grabbed his knee.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but apparently it was an ankle sprain, and he sounds like he's ready to roll. So we'll see what happens with Bosa.
Well, wildcard weekend's not over with yet, Gliss, because tonight,
hopefully the game saves the whole weekend. Let's see. I'd like to see a really good football game tonight.
It's Rams against the Cardinals, the 4 against the 5. The Rams were 12-5 in the regular season. The Cardinals 11-6. It's going to be played in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. Kickoff at 8:15 Eastern. Who you like?
I think I'm going to go with the Rams. At times this season, both of these teams looked like they could be the team to beat. And earlier in the season, it was Arizona. They came flying out the gate, and then they've kind of tailed off a little bit. And although the Rams have shown some weaknesses as well, they're playing at home. They have a lot of weapons, on both sides of the ball. It just seems like the pieces are in place for them to come out with a win. Hopefully a close game, but I think if I had to pick, I'd probably take the Rams.
On paper, it's the Rams.
Yeah.
It's going to be loud at SoFi tonight. They should win. Arizona, though, they were playing. There was a stretch there where they played really good, and they had that bump happen a little bit later in the season than maybe they would have liked to have had happen.
Yeah.
I still like the Rams tonight, but I would not be surprised if it was really, really close and Arizona pulled it out. It wouldn't surprise me. I think the Rams will win. Not going to be. It's too close for me. And they will be the winner of the Arizona LA game plays Tampa Bay, and I think whoever wins this game beats Tampa Bay and goes to the championship game or to the conference championship game.
Yeah.
San Francisco will be playing Green Bay, and it's probably going to be like minus a billion and super snowy and cold, and Aaron Rodgers is going to do that dumb thing he does when he does a little belt thing and shaggy hair and that stupid look on his face. I hate the Packers.
Me too.
So that'll be it. I really don't like them.
Not looking forward to playing them, but
it'll be an interesting weekend. Green Bay is destined to choke, though. Don't worry. Even though the NFL wants it to be Green Bay and the Chiefs really bad, I don't know. As long as Tom Brady is living, like I said, I am not counting him out of anything. The times and stuff have not been announced for the games that are happening January 22nd and 23rd, but in the AFC, Cincinnati goes to Tennessee. King Henry might be in that game. That changes the flow of everything for Cincinnati, although they looked really good this weekend. Joe Burrow's a grown-up. But let me take that back. Toward the end of the game, they almost let it go too. They tried to give it away a couple of times. Yeah. Buffalo will be playing Kansas City. Nobody's beating Kansas City. I don't care what happens. Kansas City, you could put them in the Super Bowl now. Not so sure about the end of the National Football, the NFC. But I like the Chiefs in a walk going back to the Super Bowl. That's my prediction.
I mean, they're the team to beat. That's for sure.
I say so. And, the Bears aren't in it. So there's that. Good old Bears. Good old Bears.
So it's anybody but the Packers is what you're saying.
Pretty much. Anybody but the Packers. Oh, forever. I know how it works though. The Packers, they may win their next game, they may not. I was in Green Bay the year that the Packers played the Giants. It was like the coldest day in the history of the state of Wisconsin. And I was in Wisconsin. And I watched that game and I was like, there's no way that they're going to win this game. And sure enough, they won that game. And I was hot. I was so angry. And we went to a bar and I was at the Dells, Wisconsin Dells. And we went to a bar and everybody's hooping, hollering, and screaming, and yelling. And I was with my lady friend at the time, and I was like, we're going home. And I can't do this. And by home, I mean Chicago. Let's go. We're out. I got in the car and left. I was that angry. Packed up and bounced. Oh, it was terrible. And that's play ball for today. Good luck to the football people. And the Hawks play the Kraken tonight. Actually, they're playing the Kraken right now and losing. And that Bulls game, it's 108-90 with 5:32 left in the fourth. Bulls got to figure it out, man. They got to get their guys back. Pacers are getting walked by the Clippers, 128-119 in the fourth quarter. And the rest of those games are later on tonight. Oh, wow. Cleveland beat the Nets. How about that? No Kevin Durant, no wins. Who knew? I got a piece of weird news for you real quick. 1,000 square feet of German paved road vanished, and it was believed to have been stolen. German authorities are baffled by what appears to be a very unusual crime, theft of a street. With thousands of euros worth of damage being done in the process. Even more puzzling, the stretch of stone road removed from the ground was between urban buildings and, wouldn't you know it, piles of loose granite stones stacked up that were left untouched. All right. I've heard of a lot of heinous crimes in my life, but Gliss, how do you steal a street?
It beats me. When I saw that, I was scratching my head because that doesn't make any sense.
Stole a whole street.
Even if you could, how do you pull it off? Like
That's
even just like
that's what I'm saying.
The thought that keeps going through my head is like, well, first of all, to think of that, and then two, how do you actually pull it off without anybody noticing that you're removing a road?
Are you on the phone with your buddies? Like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna steal a street. Yeah, steal a street. And then you meet up somewhere and you steal a street? Nobody? All right, come on, Germany. Don't let me down. What's going on there? They stole a street, bro. A whole street. 1,600 square foot. That's a lot. I mean, it's not an enormous amount.
I mean, the stone must have some value or something for them to be wanting to take the street in the first place, I'm guessing. But it seems like it would still be pretty obvious if however you're planning to offload this and cash in, like,
where exactly are you taking this street to? What is the street value of the street? Is it like you roll up on your guy like, here's the deal, bro. I got a street. How much you gonna give me for a street? What's the street value for a street? Man, look.
Makes no sense.
None at all. We come back. I've got some thoughts about MLK Day and about how we're celebrating it. And then we're going to wrap it up with the words of Martin Luther King on this day. By the way, Carl, thank you, Carl, on Facebook says 1,600 is about the size of most houses. Maybe they needed new floors, so they're going to put a street in their house. That's what I'm talking about. I like that idea. But how much is it worth, though? Okay, even if you're doing that, Carl, how much is a street worth? Like, do you go, I need 50,000 euros per square foot? Because that's a hefty amount of money, I would imagine. But if it's square feet, you're going to be like, okay, look, I'll give you the furniture outlet price. It's like 25 cents per square foot. So I'm going to need you to really dig deep. So I'm going to ask for 50 cents per square foot. I don't think so. A heinous crime by our friends in Germany. If anybody knows of a street that's available, though, give us a buzz here at Backchannel.tv. We come back, we talk about Dr. King, and then we wrap up the show on this very special MLK Day. This is The Drive with Mario Smith. You're watching No, it doesn't seem like the effort, Carl. You're watching Backchannel.tv. We'll be back in a moment with The Drive. Thanks to everybody that's checking out The Drive on your Amazon supported devices. And if you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate that too. Thank you for watching us on Martin Luther King Day. Thank you to our friends on our chat, Freddie and Nathan and Abigail and Marquise and G. Isaiah's in Kentucky. He's listening to us on his Amazon supported device. Thank you, Isaiah. And Ramona is new to the stream as well. Thank you so much for checking us out on this wonderful Martin Luther King Day. Speaking of Dr. King Day, we've had quite a few of these now. It seems as if we are still in the place we were in many ways when Dr. King was alive. Of course, there have been things that have happened. We've had a black president. We have far more opportunities for black and brown folks than we've ever had in this country. Yet, we still face a lot of absurdity when it comes to how black people and brown people and people in general are treated here. It seems to be a lot easier to have these days and knock off and not do anything. Today is a day of service. If that means going to a school, although it's kind of hard to do with COVID, making sure that the walls are painted, or you go into a classroom and talk to kids, or you make sure people have something to eat today. A day of service. There are people here who will use today to have colorful quotes and continue to paint Dr. King as this great, 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 great man. And I'm not saying he wasn't, because he was, but some of these people are the same people who don't know or don't care to remember that when Dr. King was alive, he was not liked. There's a reason he was assassinated. He didn't come out the house one day and just run into a bullet. The bullets had been looking for him. From the time he was stabbed in 1958 at a book signing, to that fateful day at the Lorraine Motel. Yet, those people who didn't like him have spawned people now who don't like him, but they'll get in your face today and say that they do, and say that they believe in his message. But tomorrow, those people, some of them in the Senate of the United States, will refuse to vote for a voting rights bill. There is a lot of work to be done in this country, and we are not doing the proper job. And days like today are performative instead of purposeful. There's action that needs to be taken on so many fronts in this country, and sometimes it seems to me that we use Dr. King's birthday or his birthday weekend as a chance to be super performative. I don't see any changes happening until we realize that this is not a celebratory day. It is a sad reminder of where we are on so many levels. On behalf of my man Jay Gliss in Portland, Oregon, everyone at Backchannel.tv, and everyone on our chat, thank you so much for catching the drive today. As the sun sets in Chicago, Illinois, we leave you on this MLK Day with the words of Martin Luther King. Peace.
We must work through the courts, through legislation, through the ballot. This is what we've been talking about over these last few meetings, the necessity of registering and the necessity of voting. And this is one of the most significant steps that the Negro can take at this hour, going to the ballot box. But I would like to give you a warning signal. I've tried to talk in militant terms for the last few minutes. But in the midst of this militancy, let us always realize that we don't have to hate as we try to straighten this situation out. Let us always realize that we don't have to become bitter as we try to straighten this situation out. And oh, my friends, if that is any one thing that I would like for you to remember this evening, it is the fact that somebody must have some sense in this world. Somebody must have sense enough to meet hate with love. Somebody must have sense enough to meet physical force with soul force. And if we will but try this way, we will be able to change these conditions and yet at the same time win the hearts and souls of those who have kept these conditions alive. And I know the temptation. I know the temptation which comes to all of us. We've been trampled over so long. I know the temptation that comes to all of us. We've seen the viciousness of lynching mob with our own eyes. We've seen police brutality in our own lives. We are still the last heart in the first five. So many doors are closed in our faces. And that is the temptation for us to end up with bitterness. And I understand these people who have ended up in despair. I understand why there are some who have been a little misguided and they've ended up feeling that the problem can't be solved within, and so they talk about racial separation rather than racial integration. I understand their response. I have analyzed it psychologically and I understand it. But in spite of the fact that I understand it, I must say to them in patient terms that that isn't the way. I must say to them in patient terms that black supremacy is as dangerous as white supremacy. And God is not interested merely. God is not interested merely in the freedom of black men and brown men and yellow men. But God is interested in the freedom of the whole human race and the creation of a society where all men will live together as brothers. No, we need not hate. We need not use violence. That is another way. A way as old as the insights of Jesus of Nazareth. As modern as the techniques of Mohandas K. Gandhi. That is another way. A way as old as Jesus saying, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Pray for them that despitefully use them. And as modern as Gandhi saying through Thoreau, non-cooperation with evil is as much a moral obligation as is cooperation with good. That is another way. A way as old as Jesus saying, turn the other cheek. And when he said that, he realized that turning the other cheek might bring suffering sometime. He realized that it may get you home bombed sometime. He realized that it may get you stabbed sometime. He realized that it may get you scarred up sometime. But he was saying in substance that it is better to go through life with a scarred up body than a scarred up soul. That is another way. This is what we're about to see. No, that is a power in this way. And if we will follow this way, we will be the participants in a great building process that will make America a new nation. And we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. This is our challenge. This is the way we must grapple with this dilemma. And we will be a great people. And let us have faith in the future. I know it's dark sometimes. And I know all of us begin to ask, how long will we have to live with this system? I know all of us are asking, how long will prejudice blind divisions of men, darken their understanding and drive bright-eyed wisdom from her sacred throne? When will wounded justice, lying prostrate on the streets of our cities, be lifted from this dust of shame to reign supreme among the children of men? Yes, when will the radiant star of hope be plunged against the nocturnal bosom of this lonely night, and plucked from weary souls the manacles of death and the chains of fear? How long will justice be crucified and truth buried? How long? I can only answer this evening, not long.